At the beginning of the film, we observe the main character, who remembers his beloved girl and how he wakes up with her in the morning. John opens his eyes and wakes up in a special sleep chamber for astronauts. The onboard computer reports that the man is on a spaceship that is going to Titan, a satellite of Saturn, for a special mission. The device also reports that after 9 months of sleep, John may experience absent-mindedness and confusion. He gets out of the chamber and is soon called out by Captain Franks. John takes a shower, puts on a special suit, and goes to the control room. The captain and his assistant Nash ask the man to switch on a video sent from Earth. New Pier, the commander of the operation on Earth, informs him that the ship's passengers need to check the equipment and then go back to sleep. The man also asks them to assess their psychological state. John does this with the help of a special device, but answering the questions, he is constantly thinking about Zoe. He complains to Nash that he can't remember her surname. The guy replies that after a long sleep, he too has everything mixed up. John goes to one of the rooms to check the walkie-talkies. He thinks about it and remembers that he was introduced to Zoe by Napier. John also manages to recall the woman's surname, Morgan. After checking all the equipment, John records a message for Napier, but when he remembers Zoe, he feels depressed. As he falls asleep, the man remembers listening to a lecture about the mission with Zoe. The team was sent to Titan, as it has the closest living conditions to Earth. By studying it, they plan to obtain energy and prevent climate change on Earth. John wakes up again and comes out of a long sleep. He works out on the simulator and then checks the equipment. Suddenly, John hears a woman's voice calling his name. The man goes out into the corridor to find the source of the sound when the spaceship suddenly begins to shake. John sees one of the upper panels wobbles threateningly. He reaches for it, but everything is swallowed up by darkness. John regains consciousness and sees the captain and his assistant nearby. Nash says they were still asleep when the accident happened. According to the computer, nothing collided with the spaceship, but damage appeared. John climbs up through a hole from a fallen panel and sees a strange structure inside. The man is ordered by the captain to record a message for Earth, describing what happened. John recalls being alone with Zoe during one of the lunches. The woman said that working at the science center was inspiring to her. John notes the same about a future mission on Titan. For him, as a loner, there is nothing terrible to leave the Earth. In reality, Captain Franks suggests that the engineering department where Zoe worked may have miscalculated. This could cause the spaceship to flatten itself to relieve the voltage on the hull. As long as there are no reports from Earth, the captain suggests continuing the mission. John falls asleep at the onboard computer and remembers the first time Zoe invited him over. A power surge occurs, but the computer doesn't register it. Nash begins to worry. The captain calls the team to his office and tells them that in 90 days they have to make a gravitational acceleration to reach Titan. If they cancel the mission, Command on Earth will blame the glitches on solar flares. And then the three of them will have to answer to the whole world why such an important mission was interrupted. The captain is about to lay down in the sleep chambers again and leaves his subordinates. Nash talks to the man and asks him to help him with one thing. The guy is going to start a gravitational acceleration, however, head towards Earth. John doesn't agree, as it is a real rebellion. Then, Nash tells a story about a group of scientists. Their station was threatened by a huge crack in the glacier. However, the captain forbade them to leave the station, and afterward, he destroyed them all. John agrees, but makes adjustments. He suggests waking up not in 90 days, but in 89 days and 12 hours. After that, the spaceship will need to be checked. If it's damaged, Nash's plan is implemented. If not, they fly to Titan. John falls asleep and remembers how his relationship with his beloved developed. During the lecture, Zoe tells him that it's impossible to load fuel for the return flight from Titan. According to their data, there is oxygen on the satellite that can be used for this purpose. However, if this is a mistake, the crew will never return to Earth. Soon, John wakes up and sees Zoe on the spaceship. He realizes it is just a mirage due to the medications they are being injected with to help them sleep. John talks to Nash, who is ready to send them back to Earth. However, the man says that they are continuing the mission, as there is no visible damage to the spaceship and everything is normal. Nash shouts that this is not true, and they will all die if they continue the journey. The captain appears in the control room and sends Nash to check the equipment before gravitational acceleration. While admiring Jupiter, Franks offers the assistant to drink with him. The captain promises that he will definitely cancel the mission in case of a serious malfunction of the spaceship. Franks is sure that Nash's behavior was influenced by the injection of sleep medication. The captain asks John to adjust the dosage for the guy, and he also recommends not to take sides. The man finds Nash falling into a panic state. The captain suggests that John start gravitational acceleration without the guy, who is clearly out of it. The man sees a hallucination in which the spaceship's skin cracks and he is thrown into outer space. Despite this, John again refuses Nash's request to change course to Earth. Putting on spacesuits, the team prepares for gravitational acceleration. Nash panics badly, but everything goes more than successfully. The spaceship moves towards Titan. In honor of this, the captain treats the crew to a drink. Before another sleep, the character checks the walkie-talkies and hears someone's voice. The captain, like Nash, doesn't pay attention to it, believing that it is just a hallucination. During another dream in his cell, the man remembers how he quarreled with Zoe because she didn't want him to fly to Titan. After coming to his senses, John decides to go for a run on the ship and suddenly sees the girl he loves. He runs into the captain, who informs him that Nash needs help in one of the departments. Franks also reminds him that Zoe can't be on the spaceship. John talks to the guy, who is panicking about not thinking clearly and not even remembering his parents. He calms Nash down, saying it's just a side effect of the medications. The captain sees that the engine's power has dropped 20%. Someone has been logging into his system using John's code. Franks thinks it's the work of Nash. The captain draws his weapon and says he will not tolerate sabotage on his spaceship. Despite John's oaths and Nash saying he can't even remember his name, let alone the code, Franks forces them to go to sleep until he can figure things out. As they sink into sleep, John sees the captain gruesomely massacre his partner. After that, the man falls back into the world of memories. Shortly before leaving, Zoe decides to have a small dinner after all. The woman apologized for putting it that way about the flight to Titan. She understands its importance. Zoe also wishes the man good luck in his expedition. She hopes that he will be able to return home safe and sound. The woman wonders if John loved her because she has very light feelings for him. The man doesn't answer this question and only kisses Zoe on the top of her head, telling her that he has to go. John comes out of a deep sleep once again. The man feels very sick, especially when he remembers the captain destroying Nash. John tries to find evidence of what happened, but the floor and glass are clean. After regaining consciousness, he wanders around the spaceship, looking into different rooms. Soon, he is called by Franks. The captain tells him that he and Nash got into a bit of a fight. Franks had to put the guy back in the deep sleep chamber to keep him out of the way until he arrived at Titan. The captain says that the fuel problem is solved, and they will definitely make it to the satellite. John believes him, saying that he had strange hallucinations before going to sleep. Franks also tells him that Nash incorrectly told the man the story about the scientists and the commander who forbade them to leave. In reality, the scientists themselves were afraid to move to another base because of a heavy snowstorm. The captain decided to go alone and frozen. His subordinates, on the other hand, as the crack in the glacier widened, destroyed each other. Franks asks his assistant to concentrate and solve the problem of reconnecting with Earth. The captain is pleased that John is behaving appropriately and calls him friend again. Sitting at the board computer, the man sees a hallucination in which his arm swells and then explodes with sores. John comes into the common room, hearing Zoe's voice again. Franks tells his assistant that it's time to dispel his illusions. Zoe was specifically sent to see if John was ready for the mission and if he would leave it for love. Franks lists the details of meeting a man and a woman and assures him that the whole thing was staged. This infuriates John. He checks the walkie-talkies again, when suddenly he hears a voice from Earth. John tries to relay the information when the captain summonses him. Franks explains that it is impossible to transmit a signal that far with these walkie-talkies. John agrees that reason has played a cruel joke on him. The captain also informs them that they will soon have to another sleep cycle. Just before his room, John suddenly locks himself in and demands to see Nash. Frank says he can't interrupt the guy's sleep cycle, and then the character asks at least to see him through the sleep chamber. The captain agrees, but at the last moment threatens John with a gun and demands that he go into the chamber and fall asleep. The man begins to struggle. Wrenching the weapon away, John runs to the bridge. There he neutralizes Francis, who has caught up with him. However, the computer states that the whole crew is alive and on the bridge. John turns on the crew list and sees one long name: Captain John Franks Nash. All this time, the man has been alone on the spaceship. John switches on the radio again, and he hears the voice of his beloved. Zoe says the launch was a sham, and the man is on an underground mock-up of the spaceship. The damage and shaking were caused by the earthquake. Also, Zoe confirms that John is alone on the spaceship. He is about to leave, however. The captain stops him. The man tries to talk John out of it, but he comes out of the airlock without a spacesuit. The man thinks he is saved by Zoe, but in reality he is thrown into outer space. This is the end of the film. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this film, and see you in new videos.